All right, welcome to the Burning Wheel again, episode 4.5, because we're gonna figure out what happened to
Oh,
our
three and a
good
half and 4.5,
three.
technically.
Yeah. It's. I guess it's technically it's just the shadow episode
Yep.
of 3 and 4. Is basically what this is, but I'm gonna write it as 4.5 because that's easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna figure out what happened to Dellon Tan, our good buddy, the Holy Knight, when he went off to go do something else, when the whole rest of the party decided to do another thing, for the sake of David not being there. So I think we open with the last scene of the previous episode, which was
I want to know what
yeah
happened.
yeah which was so we kind of like fade back in on um uh I'm trying to remember exactly how this played out. Oh yeah, it was um Antonius is staring at he's in the middle of this courtyard, and it's dark. It's not raining anymore, but the whole courtyard is like just full of mud because it had just been raining. And he's looking down at the body of the man he just slit the throat of. um
Okay.
and yeah, that the guy's just like laying there. And there's no really distinguishing features on the guy. He doesn't look like he's a soldier or anything. He's just a townsfolk. Um, but he did try to attack Antonius with a sword, so that's what happened with him. And then Antonius is looking at that body, and then he kind of looks back up and then turns around and heads off towards like the entrance of the cloister of the nunnery there. And then we
Get people
see
in that area.
we see several other townsfolk, like with drawn swords in their hands or axes, and various weapons, running around the corner of the nunnery, um, uh, basically like they seemed like in desperation, like they were told something like to get over this place as soon as possible. And they're rushing towards like around in a bit of a bend, like to get to the other side of the nunnery. And they stop seeing Antonius in the middle of the courtyard with the body of their companion at his feet.
Oh, good.
And
I was worried it was
he
going to be bad.
he's standing there, and she's like, oh well, crap, like this isn't what was supposed to happen. And then right behind them comes Alphonse and Theo. And they're looking at the situation, and they're also like, well, crap, this isn't
We
what
don't
was
know him.
supposed to happen. um
Oh,
and
man.
then our good friend Dellon rides up on his horse, and he like kicks. The horse rears and kicks like the gate into the courtyard, and like charges through. And Dellon like reins in his horse and pulls up. He looks at at everything there, and he's like, you bunch of idiots. And then we cut to black, and then the text comes on the screen, and it says, one day earlier. And then we open up with Dellon waking up the morning before. So
Yeah.
how does that go?
Well, so initially, I'd left to send off the letter to the head priest of the
Mm-hmm.
travel guides, and then I don't really remember what happened after that. I think we all turned in, right? And then that was kind of where we called it.
Yeah, like I think we turned in on that evening. Um,
Okay.
where yeah, I think the last thing we saw from that day was Theo just asking around in the marketplace about random things to kind of like get conversation started, and then we saw a shadowy figure in the distance that turned around a corner, and then that was the
Oh, that's
cutoff.
right.
So
Okay. Wonder who that was.
I'm still actually sure, not actually sure who that was.
Oh, okay. I assumed it was
So
the guy who attacked him with a sword. Uh, but cool. All right. Well, I assume. Let's see. I think we established that Theo probably gets up the earliest out of all of us. Right? Or
yeah,
was that?
and the last thing we opened that
Oh,
episode, episode 3, we
yeah.
opened it with Theo actually like up on the steeple of the local temple, praying to the goddess. So that's where
Okay.
he is right now.
All right.
But yeah, so we kind of
Yeah.
like assumed that Dellon was like, I can take care of this on my own. Like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need all these other fools that can do whatever they
Yeah.
want, and I'm gonna go off and do something else.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah, he must just be kind of peeved at them. Because to be honest, I think he probably would have stuck around with them to make sure they didn't do something stupid. But he obviously
Hmm.
didn't do that. So he must have just been kind of done with their crap for now and wanted to go
yeah,
do it on his
and
own.
that's kind of what I figured exactly. Like I don't think it was. And depending on like what happens, I don't think it's necessarily that he's just like, I can do this on my own. I'm just gonna stay away the whole day or whatever. It's probably
Right.
like he went off to do it himself, but then he got caught up with something, and then
Right.
he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just gonna handle this on
Perfect.
my own. So
All right. Yeah.
we'll see what
So
happens.
Yeah. Well, he gets up pretty early. Probably not before Theo, but he'll get up and I think he's just gonna. He just throws his arm around. He does his little. Well, he probably does his morning prayer first. He just kind of sits down for a few minutes and meditates. And does that, and then he just throws his arm around, gets his sword, just gets on his horse, and he starts to. He's trying to figure out where he's gonna head first to. Well, I don't know if he rides his horse into town. Depends on where he's going. He's gonna try and figure out where he should head at first. So let's see. If we're looking for heretic, do we? They didn't really give us any kind of leads. They didn't really have any idea what was going on.
No, not really. I didn't.
Okay. And we established there weren't any other really. There weren't any high profile, not high profile, but there weren't any holy knights around. There
There weren't any
aren't
holy
really
knights in
any
the
kind of
city, no.
military arms or anything like that. Okay.
There's a local guard constabulary type thing, but that's
Okay.
that's pretty much it.
So I mean, I assume if they found out there were heretics here, they had a reason to believe that, right? Did they just deign not to tell us what that reason was?
I think basically what it was is they've heard a lot of rumors of heretics in this region from like
Okay.
spies of theirs, but they didn't manage to get any concrete information, so they're gonna send you. That's what it seemed like to you.
Okay. Oh boy. All right.
But yeah, they really didn't tell you a whole lot about what the
Right.
situation was or what they really wanted you to do. They just kind of sent you off.
Okay. In that case, I think I'm going to go find the. I assume it would be mayor or some sort of the town. Just find or the elder or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the leader of a town would be called in this culture. But he's just gonna find the nicest house he can find and knock on the door, basically.
Okay. Cool. All right, awesome. So, yeah, so you go up to the
Do we have that map, by the way?
we do have that map. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pop over to that map.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Let's see what's going on here.
All right. Does
Yeah.
the squiggly line mean we're here, or does that mean
Yeah,
the building got
the
destroyed?
squiggly line is the inn that you guys are
Right, yeah.
staying at.
Just making sure it wasn't squiggled out because it got
No.
burned down or anything.
It wasn't. Yeah, I don't. I know that thing over there is the nunnery.
I assume it's somewhere over here. I mean, you got this raised hill. I assume they'd be up here somewhere. And this giant courtyard here is, I don't know what this would be for, but I would assume it would be somewhere in this region here.
Yeah.
Probably not here because it's by a gate, but maybe over here somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't see any
that
particularly large buildings, but
I'm gonna say that let's just go ahead and say that this whole block right here is like the campus
A complex.
of the
Okay.
the various like administrative buildings.
Okay.
So yeah, you go up to like the kind of like the main one, and knock on the door, and yeah, a servant opens up the door, just like a man with just kind of like wispy hair, and he looks kind of older, and he's wearing like utilitarian like normal like Ceran colors governmental clothing that you would see in most of the governmental positions in Ceran. You've seen it plenty of times before. It's a little bit more worn than it would normally be though. And the guy kind of bows when he his eyes widen when he sees you because he sees the normal holy knight accoutrements and your bald head and all that stuff. One thing
Right.
I actually did want to ask: do we want to say that just to differentiate the baldness that everyone all the holy knights have tattoos on their head?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because then it
An arrow, right?
then it kind of puts no. I think actually what it is it's like an incomplete circle. Oh, you weren't there when I described that. Yeah, that's like the symbol of the great god is this incomplete circle, and that just kind of has this small little opening at like the base of it, probably like the base of your head right here, in the circle, and then probably some like more intricate like designs around that to kind of signify your rank and things you've done and stuff like that. But
Well, how common knowledge is the ranking system on that? Because I imagine I'm a pretty high ranking if the Pope is my dad.
you're actually not necessarily, because you only have one dice in the Holy Knighthood, so you're probably like just a full Holy Knight. And then that's basically it. But you're definitely very notable, and you're very a controversial figure within the Holy Knighthood, but you're not necessarily like of a higher rank.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so because that kind of signifies it again beyond just the baldness, because again, there's probably bald people around somewhere, you know.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
But I think I think it's generally frowned upon to be bald if you're not a Holy Knight.
Yeah.
So
unless you know you have cancer or something.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it. Of course.
It does happen,
Then, probably
but
happen for very long.
So yeah, the guy just his eyes widen when he sees your sign as a Holy Knight or whatever, and he bows hastily and he says, "Sir Holy Knight, what brings you to the village of Estol? You look like you've ridden hard."
He just nods. He's like, the ride was harder than normal. In referring to his companions, of course.
Right.
It's like I had interesting company. I'd like to speak to what is he called? What is the position?
Just the mayor. That's fine.
Okay. All right. I'd like to speak to the mayor in regards to the business I've been sent on.
Yes. Of course, Holy Knight. Are you willing to wait here while I send someone to ask if he will receive you?
Is that a normal response to have the Holy Knight wait outside? And I mean, I feel like that's kind of.
And it's probably not. And I think the servant catches himself when he says that. He said, no, I'm sorry. That was impolite of me. Would you please wait in the courtyard here? We have benches that you can sit at." And he kind of like waves you in.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. He nods like, okay, now I don't have to say the thing I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And then he just steps in and takes a seat, or he doesn't sit, he stands.
Okay, so yeah, so this courtyard is like this just kind of like circular little like veranda kind of thing, and there's like there's like a small little garden or whatever. It's probably it's used as this nice little waiting area for anyone who's coming here to meet with the mayor. But so yeah, the servant scurries off, and shortly the mayor does come out, and he is he's a younger looking man, probably only like in his early 20s, which is definitely like or not very normal for any sort of major governmental position in Ceran.
Right.
Normally it would be an older gentleman. But yeah, so
Has there been a recent change in hands then with the power here? I mean, this is pretty close to the capital, right? Or where we're from, I mean.
yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's
Okay, so we would probably know if anything happened here as far as changing hands and power, right?
I know, yeah, this guy's been the mayor for maybe not. Let me actually look how long he's been the mayor.
Just trying to figure out if he may have conveniently had somebody important die recently, and
Official.
all of a sudden he's the mayor.
Let me look this up real quick.
I mean, if he didn't annihilate anybody to get into position, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
but...
he's been the town official for 5 years. So he.
You said he was 20?
Yeah, so when he was 20. So and
Right.
yeah, so he's just a very good at what he does person.
Okay.
I don't think you know anything about him unless you want to specifically try to find out information about him. But
position inherited kind of thing, or is it an elected kind of thing? I assume it's inherited.
No,
Or
it can be
something?
inherited, I suppose. It probably is in a lot of the smaller villages and whatnot. Like where if the guy's son is good at the job as well, he just kind of inherits it naturally.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's not necessarily just a hereditary position. So this guy and his father was definitely. I think you know that much at least that
Yeah.
he's the new mayor in town kind of a thing, and he's an outsider.
Okay.
He's
He
actually
voted in a 15-year-old. Holy crap.
he's actually a nobleman. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, he was
That's
placed in this position like to fill a
impressive.
void. So like the family like died or whatever, or the guy didn't have an
Right.
heir or whatever, and so like the noble in charge of this area just kind of like appointed him to come here and take
Yeah.
over.
That's pretty impressive. All right. Um.
But yeah,
Okay.
he comes in and he just nods at you and greets you with the normal like formalities. Like the blessings of God be with you, that kind of thing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he asks, so what is your bit? And he introduces his name. He says, "My name is
He's gonna say.
Itro Nav, and I welcome you to my city or my town. Um, what brings you here, Holy Knight? Anything that I can offer assistance with?"
I think he says. It's a pleasure to meet you. He says. I won't waste your time with idle chatter. He says. If word has reached is it the capital that we came from,
Yeah,
or is it just
no,
the city?
it's like the second most important city in the
It's a
country.
religious
It's
capital,
the
right?
kind of like the religious capital, yeah.
Okay. So what was the name of the city then?
Lucerta is, and
Okay.
that's where you come
Right.
from. That's like your home city. So
Right. He's like, if word has reached Lucerta, then I'm certain you'll have heard it as well. Especially if it was strong enough news to send me. There's been reports of, uh, should I say, less than faithful activity by some of the, I'm sure, minor sects of this village. Um, that's yeah. It's like I come to inquire about that and to see if I can't solve that issue.
I see. And you were sent by who? Whom exactly?
He just says the church sent me to make sure that everything was uh, going, or everything was, straight here, and make sure that the rumors have no ground, and if they do, to determine that.
Yes, I see. I I would like to be of assistance to you, Holy Knight, but I do believe that you have the wrong village. There has been no. We are faithful servants of the great God and all of the patron saints. I do not think that anyone in my town is is the kind of person who would uh, indulge heretical doctrine.
He nods. He says, "I'm sure you and your administration are perfectly faithful." He says, "But it's, as I'm sure you're well aware, impossible to know the inner workings of every person in a village, even of this size." Uh, he's like I said, if word reached Lucerta, then I'm certain you've heard something. He says, "I don't intend to." He says, "I'm sure this doesn't reflect any on your ability to lead these people. People have a tendency to make their own foolish decisions." Um, he's like, "So this isn't about you. This is about making sure that this town is is any heresies stay uh, where they belong, which is nowhere." My brain's kind of fried today, so I can't really talk very well. Sorry.
That's fine.
I had a really late night last night. So.
Um, yeah, I mean, he. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Perception. I don't think. Oh, you mean just like a straight?
Yeah, just a
Okay.
straight perception.
Where are you? You think I'd never done this before? All right. Modifiers. I don't think I have any of those. Unless it's. Oh yeah, that's for positive. Okay. Martha, what's the obstacle?
The obstacle is
2.
this is actually a good point. Let's just go ahead and say 4.
Jeez. Okay. Huh. Didn't get any 6s though.
Okay, so you sense just kind of.
Wait. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong wall. I was like, why did it double
No,
the
that's
obstacle?
fine. Yeah, I think you sense some sort of just something off about what he's saying.
Oh yeah, I know he's hiding something.
Yeah, but
I mean,
again, you don't know anything specific. You're just like,
yeah.
I have an off feeling here. But yeah, basically he just says, what things should I be looking for, Holy Knight? What things do you think would be signs of heresy that maybe I've seen but haven't correctly identified?
That's a good question. I mean, what kind of things would heretics do in this setting? I mean, I'm sure he knows. But, I mean... Because, okay, I assume when they say heresy, do they mean, like, non-adherence to what they're supposed to believe, or specifically, like, doing something else? Like, they expect them to be, sacrificing people to demons, or are they just like, you didn't do your morning prayers, shame on you, like...
From what it sounded to you, like the way the Inquisitor was saying all of these things, it was of the more serious variety. Like there was a legitimate like heretical cult starting in this city that skewered the teachings of the church and was like starting to teach, like start a following that was like teaching things contrary to what the church said.
Gotcha. I think he's just like, I'm sure you're aware, being a devout follower as you are, the kinds of things that might occur, as people having off schedules, disappearing in the night when they used to be very regularly otherwise, uh, strange teachings, people saying odd things in the streets, people or animals going missing. Do they do sacrifices, I assume?
Right? I don't know, you haven't heard? Oh,
I mean, like, is that a thing?
Is that a thing normally in the church?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Not with animals.
Okay.
There's probably some sort of like ritual offerings of like valuables or incense or whatever, but like not like an actual animal sacrifice.
Would that be something I would expect of a cult? Like, I mean, if I was thinking of a cult nowadays, I would expect them to be butchering animals. But is that something he would expect of a cult, just in general? As a societal kind of thing, or do cults, bury flowers? Like, I don't know, what do they do?
No. Okay, so I mean, if you could make a doctrine check, for that, and then you can just kind of make up what kind of cults exist.
Okay.
Like what kind of cults you'd be familiar with, kind of a thing.
Obstacle.
Just go ahead and make it a graduated test, and we'll just see how much.
Not a lot.
Okay, so give me a general idea of like what cults are normally like in this society.
Well, I mean, I could just be super generic, like I was being. Just have them be, they meet at night with their little robes and their circles and killing animals. But if that's, I mean, do you want something that's a little more?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. I have an idea. I know what this cult is.
Okay.
But yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, that was Connor. He wanted something, so.
But yeah, I think he's just like, okay, animals going missing, odd iconography showing up, or idols, or defamation of holy buildings or holy sites, threats or attempts on the lives of holy people. That like, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the kinds of things that might occur.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, but yeah, so he just kind of lists off that, and he's like, I'm sure you're aware of the kinds of things that might happen. He says you're very young for your position. Clearly, you have a very good head on your shoulders. I'm sure I don't have to inform you of what you should be looking for.
Mm-hmm. So in general, it's say it again real quick, just like in.
Well, the things I said to him were like, threats on people, religious figures, or destruction or vandalism of, religious property,
Okay.
or odd iconography, odd,
Sure.
idols, so like that. People missing at night when they otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think he kind of squints when you say that, and he says, "Well, there has been," and he pauses. There has been some vandalism of property lately. Actually, my own quarters here were vandalized just a fortnight ago. There was some strange symbols drawn on one of the walls of the compound here that did seem to have some religious meanings, possibly. I'm not very much of a religious man myself, so I didn't think very much of them, but
Could you describe the symbol to me?
I could do better than that. I could show you them. We haven't washed them off or anything. They're actually rather small, and he kind of like leads you off to this to one of the walls. Kind of like brings you through one building and then out another, and there's some like scribes working, and he just kind of shows you like the bottom like corner of one of these walls on the like this north side over here, and it's like it's an interesting like subversion of the incomplete circle. It's like almost a half circle at this point, so like the circle is even more incomplete.
Okay.
And there seems to be some other symbol that you really don't recognize, and
Can I roll doctrine to see if I would recognize any of those?
yeah, definitely. Yep.
I suppose it's probably not in my doctrine, so maybe I wouldn't. But
yeah, I mean, really, it would be a symbology roll.
oh, okay. I don't have that.
But you could make a doctrine check to see if there is any. Well, okay. I mean, I can just tell you right away. I mean, obviously, the incomplete circle is a main part of the religion.
Is this kind of the equivalent of an upside down cross kind of thing, like
that kind of thing? Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay. And the other symbol is some weird alien symbol that you've never really seen before.
That's not demons.
and it seems to be like the two symbols are opposed to each other. Like there's some sort of there's writing on like the bottom that says something along the lines some weird gibberish about like the two forces that like control us all, will battle for control, kind of a thing.
Didn't occur to him as a possible heretical occurrence.
Well, he said, well, obviously, I mean, it seems weird and weird religious mumbo jumbo, but like I don't really. And this is him talking again. He says, I don't.
I mean, he doesn't accuse him of this. If he's going to do that, it'll be
later.
Oh,
okay, all right.
It's just.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah. There's a reason, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you even like give him maybe a look that kind of signifies that?
He's gonna try and play it like you're obviously not the person at fault here until he gets as much as he needs out of him.
Okay.
If he comes to the conclusion that he was trying to hide this from, For now, we'll try and keep him compliant. He says this certainly would indicate the kinds of things you're talking about. Is there anything else you can think of that might? Well, actually, no. First, we're in a compound that belongs to the mayor. I assume this isn't freely accessible.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what? I mean, who had the ability to write this? I assume only people within your own compound had access to this place.
People within my own compound, of course. But I mean, it's not that high of a wall. Someone could have scaled it. I don't know why they would have, and why they would have written these symbols here. There's no real reason for it, but it's a possibility, I suppose.
Okay. He says, I assume you haven't looked into determining who did this at all?
Again, I didn't consider it of much importance. There's always some peasants with interesting ideas, or children even, that might want to subvert some teaching of the church and make some sort of game out of it. I don't know. I pay attention to the material matters. I pay attention to the economy. I pay attention to the things that I can control. I pay attention to the physical.
He nods. He says, or I think he kind of shakes his head a little bit, and he's like, "The gods control all of those things." He says, "We simply do as they say." He says, "But I understand what you mean."
You mean the patron saints?
Yes. Whatever.
Because that's
probably says the holy
it's
god.
heretical to say the gods.
He probably says the holy god controls all those things. I feel like he. You right?
Can't make you laugh, man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think he leans more on him than he does the patron saints, just because he's arrogant. But anyways, but yeah, he says, but I understand what you mean. He says, I assume you don't have anybody in mind on your. Whoa.
Sorry, I'm just changing it over to.
Oh, you're good. He says, I assume you don't have anybody in your complex that you might assume could have done this. Anybody who's given you trouble, anybody who's acted off, disappeared at night, done anything strange at all. He says this isn't just a concern for the church. If somebody is starting out by vandalizing your quarters, that's very possibly a challenge to you as well as the church. It could be just as important for your station as mine.
Again, I told you there was other vandalism in the city. This is not the first time. This is
other vandalism on your quarters.
No,
you're the mayor.
Other vandalism in other parts of the city. Similar.
He says, but this was your quarters. He says this is as much affront to you as it is to the church. That is why I suggest that we determine who did this, just as much for your sake as the church's sake.
Again, I do not think this was of anything of import. Maybe it is, now that the church has become involved, and maybe there is some sort of heretical thing going on, but I, personally, think it's probably just a bunch of unruly children playing games. There have been some issues with some of the local youth over the last few weeks.
Okay. He just nods. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna get any more out of him. He says, "Is there anyone else?" Or you said there was vandalism elsewhere in the city. Is it like this, or did he say it was of this nature, or was it just something else entirely?
It may be related now that you mention it, but mostly it's just vandalism, normal vandalism, possibly. See, this is the thing. Like, what you see as some sort of subversion of the church or heretical thing, I just see as some sort of normal, the normal everyday blasphemy you get when you live in a town as small as this one, and as outside the realm of normal church politics as this one is.
He shakes his head. He says, everyday blasphemies are just as blasphemous as any other kind. But he just, and with that he says, but I think you've done, or I think you've given me what I need. Is there anyone else, or pardon me, he says, is there anyone else I could speak to who may have more information, or any of the other places that were vandalized in this nature that I might speak to?
Obviously, the first place that you might want to go next is the local church. Father Thomas may have something for you. I mean,
So they've been targeted at all with this vandalism?
I believe that there was some sort of I think there was rocks being thrown at one of the windows. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. That was the only thing that I was informed of. There may have been other things that Thomas did not think that needed my attention. Again, I am not. I am as religious as I need to be. And you can tell that he seems to kind of like rubbing the fact that he's not very religious in your face, like, even because he knows you're a holy knight. He knows that that's your job, like, to be the religious, police, basically. And he's just like, I pay my tithe, I do what I need to, but I mean, really don't care about your church. So
He just the patron saints reward people in man, my brain. I don't know. In turn for their faithfulness. Thank you for your help. I will go speak to the priest, right?
yeah.
I'll go speak to the priest. Have a good day. And then he just kind of turns to leave. Or have a blessed day, whatever they say. Whatever the holy kind of.
Yeah. Make one last perception check for me, if you would. Add a.
4 again?
I think 4. Yeah, 4 again.
Actually, wait. Where's perception? That was a difficult test. Oop. All right. What? I can't believe that happened. I got 2 6s even.
Nice. Okay. So I think you hear under your breath. So what was the thing you said before "Have a blessed day"?
I said the patron saints reward in turn for faithfulness. In other words, you don't do a lot, and you're not going to get a lot for it.
Okay. So I think basically you hear him say under his breath, basically like, "We'll curse the patron saints to chaos then."
I hear that?
Yeah, you hear that.
Oh my gosh. He stops and he kind of takes a deep breath and he says, "Now see, those are the kinds of things I was talking about. Those are the kinds of signs of heresy." And he turns around. He says, "Now, how familiar is chaos? Chaos is just a thing, right? That
yeah. Basically,
like
chaos. Chaos in this world is basically like, it's not hell exactly. The abyss is hell, and the abyss is the abyss to the most of the cultures in this world is the sky, is like the expanse of the void, basically.
Okay.
And chaos is like the proverbial Satan, basically, like the proverbial dweller in the void of chaos, of the abyss, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. So yeah, he turns around, and is there anybody else in the area?
No, you're
you
kind
said
of.
there were servants, right?
There were scribes he went through. Okay, so you're basically like in like this kind of off to the way, kind of secluded section of the compound where there's just a couple of trees or whatever, and this wall. Like, there's not much else here except for like the doors to the other buildings behind you.
Okay.
But the door is closed, so.
Gotcha. All right, then yeah. I guess yeah. He turns to him and says that then. What's his response?
He has this kind of look of defiance on his face, like, yeah. So what are you going to do about it?
He doesn't say anything?
No.
Alright, in that case, Dellon walks past him to the door, or just to the door, I don't know if it's past him or not, and opens it, and just kind of leaves him there, unless he tries to do anything.
No, he doesn't. He just lets you go.
Okay. Then I step out over to the, where the, now I'm walking to where the servants were, right?
Yeah, there's some scribes working.
Scribes, okay. And now they're working on his quarters, right? His building, basically.
Yeah. Yep. They're working
Okay.
in like a side building, where like they're doing like, normal like number crunching.
Okay. Then in that case, he goes. He just kind of walks up to one and he says, "Excuse me, scribe." I guess he said, "Excuse me, scribe."
Uh, yes. What is it?
Says, "Do you have access to this room here, to the mayor's chambers, or do you know of somebody who does, besides the mayor, of course?"
The mayor's chambers, as in like this compound.
As in, like, his personal chambers.
Oh, his
I
personal
assume there's
chambers.
somebody with access to them, whether for cleaning purposes or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, he says, I do not, Holy Knight. I believe that maybe one of the cleaning staff may have a key. Why do you need to? Weren't you just walking with the mayor?
I was. Who might I speak to in the cleaning department? In the cleaning staff for access.
I think the head workman was a man named Liren, maybe.
And
Yes.
where might I find him?
On the other side, the south side of the compound.
Uh,
He's usually there. There's like a small shed, I believe, that he keeps his supplies in.
so is this compound separated by a number of doors that would be locked, or I assume they're just all kind of open within the compound, right? For the most part. Like,
Yeah.
I assume I can get there without needing a key. All right.
Mhm.
Then he nods, says thank you, and he just heads off towards that area.
Okay, so yeah, you see this older man, actually like grabbing some supplies out of the shed and then locking it up behind him, kind of a thing.
Okay. And I assume he's wearing garb that might insinuate he's at least a.
Yeah, he's wearing the same sort of like governmental garb.
Okay. So he approaches his. Are you? What was his name? Sorry.
Liren.
So are you Liren, or do you know where I might find him?
Yes, I'm Liren. What? Who are you? Holy Knight, I assume.
It's just Holy Knights. They said we used last names, right, for Holy Knights. Is their title?
I believe so. Yeah.
Holy Knight Tan, yes. I was told you might have access to the mayor's chambers. His personal chambers.
You were told correctly. Why do you need access to his personal chambers? Didn't I see you walking with him earlier?
Everyone did, apparently. Yes, but I need to be able to access his chambers. I have an investigation to conduct.
An investigation? Are you trying to place him under arrest, sir?
He says that the church's business is the church's business. I need access to his room, and that's all that is required.
Go ahead and make some sort of persuasion or something, like whatever you wanna.
Can I make suasion?
You can make persuasion, yeah.
Thank you. I don't imagine there's any kind of doctrinal reason for him to give me the key. Well, there might be. I don't know.
I mean,
The
you could
whole
just,
thing,
it's basically just, you would be like this is an official church investigation. I have the moral and spiritual right to ask this of you. You should do it over me.
All right, I assume that's the only one that I have.
And that's gonna be an ob 3, just because it's his will.
Okay. Oh, I succeeded. I can't believe it. I had a lot of dice and I didn't fail.
Wow, nice. Yeah. So I don't know how much. Yeah, I guess you don't need a routine on persuasion anymore.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I mean, he just nods. He doesn't say another word. He just basically like leads you up to the guy's chambers and unlocks the door for you. Basically, like, so it's like this main chamber, like the main governmental building or whatever. And then like there's the side chamber, where like his personal quarters are. So he just unlocks it for you.
All right. And then when he does that, I look at him and I'm like, do you maintain this room personally, or do some of your staff do that? Who would be most familiar with the layout of this room?
I am,
Or this
sir.
chamber?
I deal with it personally. I don't think the Mr. Nav trusts anyone else in the compound to go through his personal stuff. I've been working for him for 20 years now. or sorry, 5 years. I've been working for him the whole time.
Holy crap.
I've been working for the like this
Okay.
position 20 years now. I've been working for him the whole time he's been here. So.
Okay. Uh, he nods. He says, show me around. He says, I need to find, or I need to be able to access any kind of personal documents he may have, or any secret compartments. You may not be privy to those, I imagine, but any that you are, I need to access. And then he's gonna look around. Obviously, I doubt that this guy knows any like secret compartments anywhere, but he's going to be looking around for stuff. He's just tapping on things to see if stuff sounds hollow, whatever, doing that, and then if it is, he'll just speed it up till it opens.
Okay. But, so yeah, the guy just kind of like looks around, like looks behind him, like is the guy coming, like kind of thing, like he's that sort of like suspicious.
Well,
looking thing.
I think when he does that, I'm like, you may lock the door if it would ease your mind.
I suppose so, sir. This does feel a little bit dishonest to Master Nav, but he does it anyway. He closes the door and locks it behind him. And then he says, was there anything in particular you were looking for, sir?
Just documents, iconography, anything of the sort. Just anything that might be of a personal nature that he might not be willing to otherwise indulge. He's like, yeah, he doesn't say any more than that. He's like, I understand this is uncomfortable for you, and I wouldn't be asking you to do that if there was not a legitimate reason. Trust me.
He nods and he says, "Yeah, yes, I understand. I don't think that there was anything of that sort in this room or in any of his chambers.
Mayor doesn't keep any journals or.
He keeps journals, all right, but I don't think. I mean, they're just mostly economic, like accounts of the town and that sort of thing.
Economic would do.
And then yeah, he just nods and goes over to like this chest, and kind of like there. Yeah, he has a key to the chest, or he like at least knows, like he kind of like goes under the mattress and grabs this key, and unlocks this chest for you, opens it up. He says, I think this is most of his journals and documents of any note. Of course, he keeps the official records in the other room with the other books in the library.
Okay. So basically, he has unofficial records of his own, and then there's an official book that he transcribes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Is there any free parchment in there? I assume, like blank parchment.
Yes. Yep. There's a.
Okay. Now I assume there's a lot of this stuff, right?
Yep. There's lots of different papers and stuff in there.
All right. So he's just gonna flip through it really quick and make sure he doesn't see any, Hail Chaos sprayed and painted on anything, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and in a cursory search, there's nothing really that
obvious. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, well, he said there were official documents. I don't really know why Yeah, no, screw it. He'll just take the documents and screw it. Who cares?
Okay.
Because they have an official document. So he takes those and just kind of puts them in his, I don't know, carrying thing. Yeah, sure, whatever he has. So say he puts it in his armor somewhere. So yeah, he's just gonna stash it inside because I was gonna have him write it out, and I'm like, you know what? That's not gonna take the amount of time it'll take. And then I want him to do a cursory search just to see if there's anything else that seems out of the ordinary that he might have stashed something in, or scratched on the floor, secret compartment kind of things.
Sure. I mean, go ahead and make an observation check for me then.
Yay! I so have that as a skill. All right. Can I have help from the dude?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sure, you can get 1 modifier dice for that.
Okay. Alright. Base obstacle.
Just go ahead and make it 4 again.
4.
Or I'm sorry, rather, no, because that's going to be impossible for you to actually see that because it's going to double. Let's make it 3. Just a little less impossible.
No, I failed. But I got 2 6s.
You did get 2 6s.
That's still not enough to, but whatever. Another 6. Neither of those or either of those are
nice.
6s. Or
Okay, so yeah, you don't really find anything else.
gosh darn it.
There's nothing else of note that you think is important.
Butts. Oh.
No, not butts either. You don't find any of this.
Man. Fine. Alright, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have the guy. Well, I guess I could just talk to him. It's like you said they have official versions of these manifests as well, correct?
Yes, there's an official, or there are multiple official records in the room with the scribes. This bookshelves in there.
I assume he oversees. Does he oversee the transcription himself, or
mostly he delegates it to the other scribes?
Okay, and what do they use? Do they use his personal notes for that transcription?
Yes, most of the time. He usually writes up like the preliminary reports himself. The papers that you grabbed, I believe those are some of those, and then he gives them to the scribes, and they transcribe it to official reports.
Okay, he nods. Says, may I see the official reports? I like to compare them to his personal notes.
I mean, yes, it's open to the public to see the official reports, so right this way.
I probably knew that. Thank you. But yeah.
And yeah, so he basically what happens is he unlocks the door and opens it up, and Ichiro's right on the other side about to.
Yeah, I think when he goes to open it, I'm like, if it makes you more comfortable, I can go out first in case because I know he's skittish. So I can go out first and then see if he's there.
So yeah, Ichiro's basically just walking towards the door about to open it.
All right, he opens it and Dellon just nods. Evening, or what time of day is it? It's morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's morning.
It's morning, and then he just kind of starts to make his way.
Ichiro like puts a hand on your shoulder, like to stop you.
Oh man! All right, well.
Why were you in my personal quarters?
Hand goes to his sword, not like to draw it, but just on it.
Yeah.
He said, "Why are you in my personal quarters?"
Yeah.
Okay. Says, I have a feeling you know the answer to that question. Now, are you going to let me pass, or should we just skip this investigation entirely?
I think we should skip this investigation entirely.
Oh. Well, if he knows what I meant by that.
And he definitely doesn't know what you meant by that.
Doesn't?
Yeah, he didn't grasp it.
Gosh. Do I know that he didn't grasp it?
Well, okay, you may not know. I don't think it's clear whether or not he understood your meaning or whatever, but he says it anyway. He's like, we don't need to continue with this investigation. It's over. Please put my reports back. I still need to hand those to the scribes, and
How does he know I have his reports? He just says that?
Yeah.
Witchcraft. Burn him at the stake. Oh man. Well, now I know he has magic. That or no, still magic. I was gonna say that or super hearing, but that's magic.
I mean, he could have just made an assumption.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I could have taken other things. But yeah.
You might also have paper sticking out of your armor.
Oh, I thought I had a bag.
I know, I'm kidding.
Okay. I was gonna say.
Just imagining that as yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, I'm not sure you understood what I meant. I meant you can let me pass, and I can continue to investigate whether or not your words were a fit of frustration or something to be judged officially, or I can make that decision now if you don't unhand me.
He puts his hand off of you and he says, I don't want any trouble, Holy Knight, but you are making a mistake in thinking that I am suspicious of something. Please put your inquiry elsewhere.
He just kind of sighs and he's like, you must take me for a fool to assume that I'd be sent to a place that's, man, words, that's suspected of heresy. Tell me there's nothing you can think of until I point it out, and that, it's conveniently consider things that could very well be important, and just not think of them until I point them out directly, and then state heresy yourself, and to expect me to just leave this alone. Like, it's both my duty and my holy obligation, I suppose, duty to the church and holy obligation to determine where this heresy is, and if it lies with you, then that is for me to determine as well.
Do your worst then, Holy Knight. And then he just walks into his chamber and slams the door.
So I imagine the guy heard all that, right?
Yeah, he's just standing there awkwardly like, oh crap.
Alright, so I think he pulls him aside, and he's like, well, now that that's out in the open, aside, like, further from the room.
Mm-hmm.
He said, now that you've been made privy to a little bit more information, has the mayor had any odd tendencies recently, frequently leaving at a time he was otherwise here, meeting with people he doesn't normally meet with, anything along those lines? Has he disappeared for a number of hours when no one can find him, doing, clearly not just writing his manifest? I assume he does that on a schedule, but is there anything that is suspicious about his behavior?
The guy just kind of like looks around and he's like, there's nothing that I personally know about. I'm just the master of the house. I make sure just everything is. And he kind of realizes that he said that, and then he says, I suppose that I would be the one to know if anything was going on, and I
would be.
I don't think there is. I mean, I don't pay attention to and he's just very, very flustered.
You're like, I'm certain as the you did not become the steward of the house by being unaware and ignorant of the ongoings of your master. He says, I understand this is not a comfortable situation for you, but realize that if the mayor is involved in... You're typing. Oh. That if the mayor is involved in heresy, that this will escalate to far worse than simply an uncomfortable situation and having to give perhaps personal information to me about the whereabouts of your mayor. If he turns this into a full-blown thing, this could escalate massively.
And I think he kind of like gains some like control over himself, and he looks at you straight in the face and he says, there is nothing shifty or shady going on about my master's doings. There is he has meetings with people. He goes and has errands to run. He is the mayor of this village, after all. But it is not my responsibility to keep track of those errands, and it is not my responsibility to gossip about him behind his back. Now, if you'll give me my leave, I think we're done here.
He just kind of shakes his head. He's like, I wasn't aware that aiding in an investigation for the Holy Church was gossip. He says, but I am aware that Well, maybe I'm not aware. I guess I don't really know what the law is. But is it? I mean, obviously it's illegal here to lie during a legal investigation. Is it illegal in the sense to lie during a church's investigation? I assume.
Yeah, obviously it's very
Okay,
illegal.
yeah. 46.
I'm trying to do the syntax thing, and Josh figured it out the other night, and I can't figure out how to do it.
What is it?
Like he figured out like what the thing that's happening when you roll the dice for. Oh, wait a second. Let me try this one more time. I think I figured it out. No,
yeah, that's what he wrote up there, but didn't do anything.
I don't know what. Yeah.
Huh? That's strange.
That's weird. Oh, wait a second. Okay, I think I actually did figure it out now. Because you got to do slash.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Command.
Cool.
Huh. That's cool.
How is that 4 successes?
It's got to be greater than 1. And you have 4
Oh.
greater. You have, yeah. So, well, it says greater than 1. It should be 3 successes. Because you have a 1. Let's see, because his was greater than 2, and he got 5 successes. Well, no. Yeah. So,
Oh, I see. Okay, so this should be greater
looks
than.
like it's greater than or equal
3.
to for some reason.
Okay, so let's go ahead and roll that again. No. Okay, so I need to do. See, now we're just doing a bunch of rolls off screen. Oops.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyways.
Needs to be greater than 4. Okay, so that's 3 successes then.
um. Yeah. So.
Okay, I want you to make a roll, an observation roll. That's what that was for.
Oh, an observation roll.
Yeah, an observation roll.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I know he's lying.
Okay.
But I guess maybe he doesn't. Why can I not do? Oh, because it's a skill. Ugh, my brain. All right.
So it's against 3 successes.
Right. Okay, and it'll double that for me automatically. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't notice. But wait, that's routine.
It's routine simply because of the base obstacle there, but I mean it doesn't. Oh goodness, it doesn't matter.
Oh right,
it
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I forgot about that.
Yeah, any test.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so this is what. Yeah, I mean, I guess the roll really doesn't matter all that much because if you, I mean, you can still believe whatever you want about the.
Yeah, I mean, like
what
you
you
can't
think he's
tell
saying.
specifically that he's holding something back, but he assumes he is. Because I mean, like, he was super flustered.
Okay.
And he got himself together and he was like, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, I think what it is you have a general sense that you think he's probably lying about something, but you really don't know.
Yeah. So he's just
what.
like, it's. I don't remember what I was saying earlier, but basically I was like, but it is. Oh yeah. He's saying I don't think that assisting in a holy investigation is gossip, but I do believe that obstructing a holy investigation is both a sin and a crime.
Mm-hmm.
He says if I determine that you've lied to me, don't think that I will not. Don't think that I will let that pass. So unless, of course, you have something you would like to tell me now, and save yourself from whatever adjudication may result if you did not. Do you want me to make a suasion roll or something?
Sure. Yeah, you can make a suasion roll. That's a thing you can do.
That's a thing.
So go against will of 3 again.
Okay. I'm glad.
Actually, no. Go ahead and have it make it an op 4 just for like his disposition.
Meh. Okay. Ah,
you still succeeded. Nice.
see, I don't need Alphonse. I got this.
Okay, so yeah, what is exactly your intent on that? then?
Basically, to explain to, or to get him to be afraid of the fact that if something comes out that his master is heretical, that I'll come and punish him for obstructing a holy investigation and
Okay,
whatever
and you
else
definitely
I got
succeeded on that. He looks terrified, but he still doesn't offer any information up. He's just like shaking a bit, and he's like, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you anymore. And then he just like turns on his heel and walks away.
He says, "You're a loyal man. I regret to see what will befall you when this investigation concludes." And he turns and makes his way towards the exit.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, not the exit, towards the official documents.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, you go in there, and then the scribes kind of like look up at you again because they recognize you and stuff. So,
I assume these are the scribes that transcribe the actual documents
yep.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he approaches one of them. He's just like, "Morning. Are you the individuals who transcribe the official manuscripts or transcripts, whatever?"
Yeah, they kind of look at each other, and the same guy that had like led you to the master of the house or whatever kind of nods and says, "Yes, that is our job."
Okay. He says, "I was told you make those manuscripts on copies of the man, really mayor. Thank you. The mayor's notes. Is that accurate?"
And they all kind of look at each other. Yes, sir.
He says, "Is there any or is there any way that there might be a beyond, of course, just simple error, that there might be a difference in the mayor's notes and the official documents? Is there any way that might occur?"
It's possible. Simple clerical error is always possible. I don't.
He nods. He says, "I mean, other than clerical error."
Now, kind of look at each other again. Are you saying one of us would purposefully change the documents?
Says, "Oh, that's one possibility, or there is another way that someone might. I was told that you are generally use the notes to transcribe this. If there was any other kind of way that you may be provided information that does not match what the mayor's notes entail."
Yeah, and they just kind of are looking at each other again, and the guy who's been talking the whole time is like, is this the shouldn't the mayor be here for this conversation? Shouldn't you be talking to him about this? We do have jobs to do, Holy Knight, and I don't mean to intrude upon your investigation, but I don't think that we're the people to ask.
He just shakes his head. He says, the mayor would be here if I thought that was appropriate. You are the people to ask, and you do have a job to do, and that is to adhere to the patron saint's desires and directives, which I am the thing. Proxy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. She's like, if there's any kind of possibility that someone could intentionally alter these documents to be different, whether that's the mayor himself, one of you, or if it's or if anyone else has access that may be able to do that, or if you're provided any kind of alternate information at any point, anything that would cause these to be different.
I mean, go ahead and make another suasion roll. That's what that sounds like.
Sweet, I will do that.
And go ahead and make the just a 3.
Okay. Boosh.
Yeah. So I think what happens is the guy you've been talking to the whole time just kind of like coughs into his robe, and he kind of looks up at you and says, I think I might have information for you, Holy Knight. Could we speak outside?
He nods. He says, "Of course."
And then he gets up, kind of like gives a glance at one of the other scribes, and then walks out with you. And then he says, I have been under suspicion for some time that there might be one of the other scribes that maybe changing the records to try to get more of a share than he should, if you know my meaning.
He nods. He says, if I were to compare the notes of the mayor's notes to the official records, would that show that, or would it show that to be the case?
There is a possibility of that, but I do not think that the mayor keeps, or he says, I don't know where the mayor keeps those preliminary records and how far back he has records of those things. He once it's transcribed officially, I'm not sure that
He just holds his hand up and he's like, "Don't worry about the his records." How far back did there was quite a few of them? I assume, were they pretty recent or?
It looked pretty recent, yeah.
Okay. Did it look recent enough that they were probably only non-transcribed ones, or?
It looked like that, yeah.
Okay. In that case, he doesn't hold his hand up because, yeah, he's probably right. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, he nods. He's like, "Do you have any idea what?" Well, I imagine he probably just burns them. He says, "So the." No, he wouldn't know that either. Gosh darn it. Okay, well, that's really inconvenient.
He kind of like sees you like thinking about what to say or whatever, and he says, I don't know particularly where the records go, or the preliminary ones go once we're finished transcribing them, but I do know that they are kept somewhere. I don't think I would be the one to ask though. Again, Mayor Icho should know.
Yeah, he nods. He says, "How consistent are the kinds of expenses you suspect are being altered? If I had the current, if I could obtain the current transcripts and compared them to the transcripts of the previous official transcripts, would we be able to tell if they have been doctored, or is there too much variation from one transcript to another?"
Possible that it's possible that we might be able to tell. But again, I don't think he, and he kind of like glances back at the building. I don't think that the other scribe that I'm mentioning would be able to get away with it for so long if there weren't enough minute details that he would be able to slip it under the radar.
He nods. He says, "Or if he was being paid." He says, "I have the manuscripts, presumably the ones that you have not quite transcribed yet. Come with me to the official documents, or come look at the official documents with me, and we'll compare it. And if you can find any discrepancies, then I'll."
With what? What are you comparing it to?
So the official transcripts for last time,
Mm-hmm.
I want to compare to the notes for this coming time, and see, because I don't know how. Obviously, some of them are going to be wildly inconsistent, but I want to see if there are any inconsistencies in those that are generally. So, like, if he's like, "Okay, yeah, we all get paid $5, 5 gold coins in a month or whatever, always," and that's inconsistent. So if there are any
Right.
normally consistent things that are different.
Okay. All right.
Because if I can start there and I find something, that's fine. If not, I have to look for the other ones,
Sure.
which I could do. But
Sure.
he's like, I want to just make sure we can,
Okay.
don't do extra work today. So.
Awesome. All right.
If we can find inconsistencies, then perfect. If not, I'll have to try and find the stored notes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and actually take a break real quick there. Yep. So we can go to the bathroom and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll be back in about like 5 minutes or so. So
all right.
Stick around, people. More Burning Wheel when we come back.